2 games. This week, there's been extra unwanted attention on the Toffees with the potential £50 million transfer of homegrown youngster Anthony Gordon to Chelsea. We're going to head over to Chris Latchem right now, who is at Goodison Park for final score later. But today, Everton are taking on Nottingham Forest. Chris, what is the mood there at the moment?
Well, it's interesting. The mood here, the positives that we had at the end of last season, Alex, seems to have been washed away by these pre-match sprinklers. We've just got a little bit of a hosing down here as well, because those 2 defeats that you mentioned immediately just nip any kind of optimism in the bud. And you mentioned Anthony Gordon, the transfer that seems ever increasingly likely that he might well be heading south down to Chelsea, is only going to upset fans a little bit more, you'd have to wonder. Let's bring in the Liverpool Echo's Everton correspondent, Joe Thomas, the Everton Supremo at the Echo, busiest man in football. You were at the under-21s last night, here today. Anthony Gordon leaving, how are the fans reacting to that, if it does happen?
Well, the first thing to say is, obviously, he hasn't left yet. He's still an Everton player, and Frank Lampard was very, very assertive yesterday in his view that, 1, he remains an Everton player, and 2, Frank Lampard wants to keep it that way. Now, in terms of keeping hold of him, I think Everton fans have a degree of mixed feelings. He's a homegrown player. He's come up through the academy. He's one of our own. Back in the last season, during the course of the relegation battle, you had probably 2 talismen that could really get the Gladys Street up on their feet and behind them no matter what the situation was. One was Richarlison, he's already gone. The other one is Anthony Gordon. Nobody wants to see a player like that leave, especially at a time when forward options are limited for Everton and goals are lacking. However, I also think that there is an understanding that this is a side in transition. Frank Lampard is trying to address the mistakes and the errors of quite a number of transfer windows, managers and directors of football that went before him, and the type of fees that are being mentioned for Anthony Gordon could go a long way to solving some of those short-term issues that Frank Lampard may have to deal with in terms of this season, taking Everton forward in the short term.
He's in the squad today, Frank Lampard said. What sort of reception do you think he'll get from the fans?
I think he'll get a positive one. I think so. I think most fans will be understanding this case. From what we understand so far, he hasn't pushed the lead. There's been significant interest, and he hasn't been someone that's been clamouring for an exit and making things difficult. We've seen from the pictures that the club have released this week. He's training, and he's training well. He's still an important part. I think that what Everton fans more than anything will want to see is they want to see a good performance from him today. They want to see what he normally does, which is come, give everything for the team, and hopefully turn a positive performance from a personal perspective into a positive result for the team, which obviously Everton very badly need.
Well, we shall see. Joe, thank you. Alex, interesting time for Everton. Anthony Gordon linked with that move away. We'll see what reception he'll get from the home fans here at Goodison later.
We sure will. Thank you, Chris and Joe. We're going to go straight into you, Rachel, with Everton. We know your ties to the team. Obviously, a lot of talk around Anthony